In this video, we're going to go over 3 different variants of Makruk or Thai chess. I'm going to assume that you're familiar with the rules of Makruk already. If not, please check the link above or in the description below. Otherwise, let's continue. So all these variants are basically Makruk with a few rule changes. The simplest of these variants I'm going to start with is Makpong. And Makpong only has one rule change, but it's a pretty big one. So the major defining rule of Makpong is, if your king is in check, you can't move your king to escape. You have to move a piece in between, otherwise you lose. So for example here, if I move my rook to check this king, normally the king would want to move to the side as one of its options, but this is unavailable, so it has to move with one of these pieces. So for example, blocking with this met, blocking with this bishop or pawn, or blocking with this knight. So keep in mind that a knight is especially deadly in Makpong, because say you have a knight here and you move over here, that's checkmate because there's no piece that can actually block a knight. Now the other way, if I attack from here, this is not checkmate because black can still take the knight. So Makpong is basically kind of like a sudden death version of Makruk, which is known for being quite heavy on draws, and Makpong cuts out a lot of draws by having very easy checkmates. Now the next variant of Makruk is Cambodian chess, or Ouk Chatrang, or also known as Ouk for short. So Ouk basically gives you 2 special moves for the king and the queen. And the condition is this is the piece's first move. So on the king's first move, it can move sideways like a knight. So either there or there. And on the queen or the met's first move, it has the ability to jump 2 squares forward. So it could actually jump in front of a piece. So let's move this pawn out of the way. And let's move this over here. So this can still move like that. And then finally we have ASEAN Chess. So for those who aren't familiar, ASEAN is basically like a political union of Southeast Asian nations. And actually the name is an acronym of Association of Southeast Asian Nations. And as you've noticed, there are a bunch of countries in Southeast Asia that have chess variants that are very similar to Makruk. So we already talked about Thai chess, and then in this video we already covered Cambodian chess. There's another variant, Burmese chess or Situyin, which is very close, but we'll cover that in a different video. And so in order to keep things more consistent, as well as to make things more international, this game was proposed. And the first thing you'll notice off the bat is a different piece set. Basically, ASEAN chess can be played with your standard Western chess pieces. Now in Pi chess, we use different symbols for the bishop and the queen just to emphasize the fact that these are not Western bishops or Western queens. This one still moves like a bishop in Makruk, and this moves like a queen or met. So all the pieces move exactly like they do in Makruk, but the rules are closer to international chess. So for starters, there's pawn promotion. So remember in Makruk, a pawn instantly promotes when it gets to the 6th rank. Well, that's not the case in ASEAN chess. Just like international chess, a pawn has to reach the last rank. And when it reaches the last rank, it has its choice of promoting to any piece of its choice. So typically, a rook. That's the main difference. The other differences come to the endgame. So there's a 50 move draw, just like in chess, where if 50 moves have been played without moving a pawn, then that's a draw. And the other big change is in counting rules, which are much simpler than in Makruk. They're actually the same as Burmese chess or Situyin, but I'll just quickly summarize them here. So endgame counting rules are initiated when both sides have no pawns and one of the sides has a bare king. And in this example, black has a bare king. And like Makruk, you look at the opposing army and you see the strength of the opposing army to determine how many turns that player has to checkmate the other player. And so in this case, the counting rules are just based off the strongest piece available. So the count for a rook is 16 moves. The count for a bishop is 44 moves. And the count for a knight is 64 moves. So in this case, white has 16 moves to checkmate black because its strongest piece is a rook. Unlike Makruk, it doesn't matter how many of these you have, So for example, if you have 2 rooks, it's still 16 moves. So if black is able to escape after 16 moves have been played, then the game ends in a draw. And so that was a quick summary of 3 different variants of Makruk. Please feel free to try them out in Pi Chess and let me know if you enjoy them. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this.